Am I the a-hole for naming my adoptive parents as my parents instead of my bio parents in an article about me? This is kind of emotional for me, so please be nice even if I suck here. I'm 26 female, I'm all set to finish my PhD this year. Some of my published work has recently gotten press coverage in certain circles, and an article was even written about it in my hometown newspaper. In an interview, I was asked about my family, and I provided a picture of me with the people I consider my real parents, even though they've never legally been my parents. That's what prompted a controversy. My bio family is extremely religious, and they kicked me out because they thought I was gay. Not true, just a late bloomer. And an apostate. True, when I was 17. My grandparents let me stay for long enough to finish school, but it was rough. I was able to scrape by and cobble together enough scholarships for college out of state, but I had a breakdown early in my freshman year because I was so stressed out. In a big city for the first time, and I had literally nobody. There was a tiny restaurant off campus that was cheap and quiet, but I used to go there sometimes just to get away, and because the immigrant couple who ran it were always nice to me. After the lady asked if I was okay one day, I broke in tears, and they kind of just adopted me. They talked me through my breakdown and had me over for dinner and on holidays, and treated me just like one of their kids. I helped them with some things around a restaurant while I was in school. Their daughters are older than me but we're friends, and I'm an auntie to their kids now. These people had no reason to take me in. We're not even the same race. But they did, and I introduced them as my parents now, and they call me their daughter. Once I'm established in my career, I plan to chip in to help them retire. I've kept some contact with my bio family, and the relationship has improved with time as my parents have mellowed out, and several of my younger siblings and other family have left their religion or become much less involved. But I can't forget being abandoned. They've been wanting me to come visit for a while, but I haven't. And when they saw the picture of me with my adoptive parents in an article, they freaked out. Their argument is that they raised me and they already apologized for kicking me out. So this is very hurtful. I think I wouldn't be doing my work without my adoptive parents' intervention, but they aren't my legal parents either. A lot of my bio family and friends are split on the issue. Some say I should have thrown my bio parents a bone since reconciliation is happening slowly. Now for the top comments. Not stay home. Blood is not thicker than water. Opie should tell them that she was born again, since she would have died without these people. Okay, make it a career, /spiritual/emotional death without them. So they are your career /spiritual/emotional parents. I mean, if your parents are reconciling slowly and you want that, then fine. Just tell them you wouldn't be here today without the adoptive family. And since the article was about your work, that your support family was the family that enabled you to do that work. I sometimes find that calmly and emotionally repeating a phrase wins an argument. I wouldn't be here today without them. They're my parents in that respect. And just repeat that line if your bio parents argue. Also tell them, I heard your apology, but I've not received support of any kind, emotional, financial, or life advice from you. Until that break is healed, I was simply the abandoned kid that found a new family. Not stay home. Forget bio for a second. Couple A kicked you out at a vulnerable age for no reason. Couple B scooped you up and showed you unconditional love. You were not wrong either way, but it's clear why you chose the way you did. Congratulations on your hard-earned education. Congrats on finding a true family. I think it's really sad that parents so easily discount serious emotional pain. They don't realize that the damage done may never be healed. They need to accept what they did and live with the consequences. Not stay home. I don't think it is irrational they got hurt, but they are in no position to demand any recognition. You survived and thrived despite they were your parents, not because of it. You could have been mistreated, dead, or in an institute. Check your language. They mellow down. Really? Don't you ever think that by wanting to reconcile or making a step towards it, you owe them anything. And now they're trying to guilt you. They should be begging you to acknowledge their mere existence. Next story. Am I the a-hole for blackmailing my mother and airing out her finances to the family? For quick backstory, my mother is a textbook narcissist, and her whole family has always tiptoed around her feelings since she had a kid at 15 and had to give it up for adoption, as my grandparents refused to quit their jobs to care for a baby. Her parents have literally bought her houses and gift her $20,000 to $50,000 a year. I, 25 female, and my fiancé, 27 male, just got our first home together. The down payment was $12,000, and my mom offered $3,000 towards it to help us out. I did not ask. She offered, and we would have waited a few more months, no problem. Anyway, this year my grandfather passed and she got well over $80,000 handed to her, so it's not like she needed that $3,000. Long story short, one of our appliances was on the fritz, and I told mom I didn't have time to talk because I was working on our appliance. Within an hour, my cousin calls me from my nan's house to say mom and nan are on the phone, and nan is saying things like, "Who cares if it's broken? Let her buy a new one. You just bought her a house. You better not give her a dime." Which, 1, it's fixed, it works fine. 2, I didn't ask for a dime. 3, I never said it was broken or had to be replaced. And 4, she did not buy us a house. This absolutely set me off. I sent my cousin our closing documents and it shows gifted amount from blank. I also sent screenshots of my conversations with my mom talking about this cousin who was recently visiting. Mom saying things like, she can't have an eating disorder when all she did was eat when she was here. I was basically saying don't believe her because all she does is talk crap. Look at what she has to say about you as soon as you leave, after acting fake AF all week. I found out mom has been telling her whole side of the family she purchased our home for us and has been sending us money for bills because we are so bad with money. I was pissed by this as well. I suspect this stems from her jealousy as I started working at her old job, surpassed her position, and not only do I make more money than her, they are paying for my BA to promote me further. After some super sleuthing on my end, I found out mom got $20,000 from nan the same month we bought our house because she needed help since she bought a house for her daughter, when in reality she spent it all on drugs and fancy dinners with men who don't value her. After I sent all my supporting documents and screenshots to the family with her bragging about a pound of weed getting shipped to her house and everything else she wastes money on, I'm now being berated and being told I'm the source of all the drama and I should kept my mouth shut. That this is essentially blackmail and I'm trying to destroy our family. I told my mom's twin this has been brewing for years and her family didn't do my mom any favors by letting her get away with everything since her teen pregnancy. And it's unfair to saddle me with the responsibility now. It's been over a month with little contact from my mother, and her twin still pestering me to apologize and include her in my wedding planning. So, am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. What a disaster. Don't apologize. You had enough and told the truth of it all. I'd stay in no contact with them if I were you. Who wants that kind of grief in their life? Not me, and neither should you, OP. SMH. They clearly don't know what blackmail is. OP isn't requiring someone to give them something or they will do something. Not stay home regardless. I will go with not stay home. Mostly because you wouldn't be airing screenshots if your mother hasn't been lying about stuff in the first place. In a way, she was defaming your character and you proved it wrong. Your family's the reason for all of this, since instead of getting therapy for your mother, they kept paying her up. Your mother's twin is mad because you broke the status quo of letting Opie's mom have her way, stood your ground and proved her wrong. You should consider if you want to keep a relationship with these people and set some boundaries. I would also give back the $3,000 to your mom and send a transaction copy to everyone before she can lie about that too. It's easy to call it just drama when we aren't in the receiving end of countless abuse and broken boundaries. Not the a-hole, as I'm guessing you have had years of her gaslighting your family and knew you needed to back up your story with evidence. You're the family scapegoat. The twin is nuts too. She just doesn't want to have to deal with your mom anymore and is looking to dump her on you. She sounds like she hasn't emotionally matured past 15, as no one has allowed her. It is too late now. Free advice, just sit back and feel how much less stress you are under now that she is gone. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for giving my sister brutal honesty? My sister is morbidly obese, technically speaking. She's 100 pounds overweight. For a while, my folks have been concerned. When they've brought up concerns to me, I've shared my concerns as her doctor. I think out of fear of potentially losing her/her cutting off communication with them, my parents have said nothing to her. For the longest time, I said nothing. I figured it was a no-win situation for me, and just that my siblings' weight didn't seem to be something I needed to throw my hat in the ring on. Right now, she's unemployed, and my parents are footing the bill for her everything. Rent, food, entertainment, everything she does right now is paid for by them. Because they were redoing the floors and because of an asbestos problem that the apartment building management found, she just spent 10 days with me. I work from home, so we were around each other the full 10 days and I got to see how she lives. This girl casually ran up a $90 bill just in snacks alone. Her day's 3 meals, snacks, TV, and YouTube. On her last nights here, I decided to take her out to dinner. Problems arose when she literally tore the pants button off trying to get it to fasten. I don't know if she meant it rhetorically or what, but she asked, "Why is this happening?" I told her that it's because she has a poor diet and lives an unhealthy lifestyle. I warned her that if she kept it up, there were going to be many more clothes malfunctions down the road. I told her I was scared for her future. She believes I'm the a-hole for giving that answer and has labeled it as body shaming. I don't label it as such because I never mentioned her body, and I never called her fat. I kept it about her lifestyle and her diet. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. Not a-hole. Body shaming is totally different, and people need to stop using body positivity as an excuse to be unhealthy. I do agree so much here. I was even accused of body shaming by giving tips to get fit to someone who was posting about being overweight since the lockdown. I just don't get it. Did a person ask for tips? If they did, then absolutely. If the person was just complaining and you offered and asked for advice, then yeah, that's an a-hole move. Sometimes people just want to shout into the void about something and be heard. It may or may not be part of their process of coming to terms with the situation. They aren't asking for help. They're just processing their emotions out loud, so to speak. If they keep complaining and don't ever take action, well, sucks for them. They lose the right to complain. If they complain for a bit and then eventually take steps to fix the issue, then it's just their process of figuring things out. Not stay home. We have a major problem right now in figuring out the line between body shaming and your lifestyle is killing you. Maybe you could ask her if there is anything you can do to help her change her lifestyle. That's a line that I guess I didn't toe very well. I ditto the suggestion of asking her if there are things you can do to help. I've been unhappy with my weight for a while, but only recently did I really get myself off my butt to do something about it. And it would be a lot easier with a buddy. Cooking healthy meals for one/by myself is boring. Same with going to the gym. If your sister is interested in changing something, whether it's food or exercise, offer to be on board with her. And I'm not suggesting a diet. I'm suggesting more a focus on healthier eating in general. Not stay home. Pants rip because they don't fit anymore. Only someone in denial will ask, "Why is this happening in this situation?" She asked, you answered. I thought you answered quite kindly and in a manner that spoke of concern, not fat shaming. Hopefully she thinks about it. Exactly. The cold answer would have been, "You got too big for those pants." Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for leaving my husband passed out on our lawn? My female 30 and my husband male 32 have a toddler together. Our property has no fence. I was inside. My husband was sitting on the porch watching our son, and our son was playing on the lawn. All of a sudden, I heard my kid wailing and rushed outside. He had fallen and scraped his knee. I saw my husband head over before me, which makes sense because he was closer than I was. But when he squatted down to help, he fainted. The exact timing isn't clear. I don't know if he squatted and then fainted or fainted mid-squat. I just know he was passed out on the grass by the time I got there. My husband is squeamish. He doesn't like gore and blood makes him uncomfortable. I knew this when we dated, and I knew it when we married. He's fainted before. We dated in college and he faints at vomit as well. It usually comes through shortly after. We've been together 10 years, and I've seen him faint maybe 3 times, including this instance. Anyway, he passed out on the grass and my son was still screaming, so I picked him up and carried him inside. When I was dressing his wound, my husband came in a couple minutes later angry that I left him unconscious and unattended in our lawn. We don't live in a dangerous neighborhood. We're friends with our neighbors. He was dressed for the weather because he was sitting on the porch outside anyway. And we live in an area where the climate doesn't fluctuate too much. So I didn't feel there was a risk of hypothermia/heat stroke. It was maybe 70 degrees and clear, which is why we let our son play outside. It only takes a couple minutes to dress my son's wound and kiss it better, so I would have checked on my husband shortly after. But my husband says I should never leave someone unconscious and unattended. I agree with this point generally, but if there is only 2 of us present and our son is hurt, I don't see what the big deal is. He thinks I should have left our son with him while I go inside to get the bandages and dress his wound on the lawn. Or take my son inside, get the bandages, and bring him back out to dress his wound on the lawn. I guess the last idea makes sense, but as a mom with a crying child, I didn't think about it that deeply. Am I the a-hole? You're the a-hole times 10. You never leave an unconscious person alone. I'm amazed by the number of Redditors who think fainting is no big deal, and who seriously suggest things like grab them a glass of water, get them some ice, make sure they're comfortable, then check on them in a couple minutes. I am kind of mixed on this. If my husband fainted at the sight of blood to the point a cut did him in, I would remove the kid first before trying to wake him up. Otherwise, he will just faint again, and I will still have a screaming toddler and a fainted husband. I really feel like Opie is in a no-win situation here. I'm surprised that so many of the comments seem to be glossing right over this. To me, it seems obvious that Opie's thought process was, remove bleeding child to avoid causing further issues, then check on husband. Do I think that she should have checked on him first? Yes. Do I think that she's an a-hole for it? No. I feel like this is a no a-hole here. I get why he's upset, but I get Opie's thought process. And I'm surprised there aren't more people at least somewhat addressing her mention that he has issues with gore. I'll probably get downvoted, but you're the a-hole. I don't think you should leave someone unconscious unattended even if it's just for a couple of minutes. That's long enough for the tongue to block their airways, and any more than 1 minute of being out is dangerous, and it could have been a heart attack or something more serious. You should have revived him first. A scraped knee isn't as risky a situation. You're the a-hole. Your triage skills suck. Unconscious human left unattended versus kid with skinned knee? And you prioritize the skinned knee? WTF? Plus, the whole post reads like the husband was outside with a baby. The child is 4, old enough to hang on a minute while you make sure daddy isn't dead. Update. We, husband 32 male and me 26 female, have been told by his brother 37 male and sister-in-law 30s female that we should supply all Christmas gifts for the kids due to our lack of kids. Original post. My husband has a very large family. In total, I think his father has 8 brothers/sisters. They all got married and had 2 to 6 children each. Now all their children are grown up and starting families as well. We're looking at easily, I believe, 15 children and the family is off right now. We all get together for Christmas every year at his grandparents' house. Sounds great, right? Right. Normally after Thanksgiving, or on Thanksgiving, which they also all get together for, we pick names for the children's gift swap. There is also a man and women gift swap, which my husband and I, who do not have children, join in on. Now, to give you an idea of how the gifting has been the last 10 years. Husband and I would buy gifts for his parents, his brother and wife and their 4 kids. Great. Awesome. Works fine. Last year they said they would rather we just bought gifts for the kids. So we did. The same thing we'd always gotten them books at their reading level. PJs and puzzles of some kind. They were upset, but we couldn't place why. We also didn't get any gifts at all, which we didn't comment on. But my husband admitted he was a bit hurt to get nothing from his parents versus his brother and sister-in-law getting gifts. I am not a super social person, so I spent most of Thanksgiving reading a book and watching one of the youngest cousins sleep. Eventually, we all gathered up so the kids could draw names of their cousins for the gift swap. They finished that up, and then husband's brother, who we'll just call Timmy, says, "And uncle, my husband, will buy all the kids a gift too." Cue my husband and I giving him looks of the heck and screw you. We laughed and said, oh no, haha, we'll just be bringing the candy again this year. His brother then started in that we should buy all of the children gifts since we have none, and that it wasn't very Christian of us not bless the children with our good fortune. My husband at this point pulled him aside into the kitchen and told him he wasn't buying all of the cousins' gifts, and if he wanted to, he was welcome too. They started to argue and Timmy yelled that we should not come for Christmas anymore. I handed over the baby. We left, said we'd email them about it later when they calmed down enough to talk like adults. I would just like someone else's viewpoint. My husband is really upset, and his parents are agreeing with Timmy that we should be giving more gifts, since we have no one to buy them but for kids now. He threw the fact that we get no gifts from anyone at them, and they said we were adults now, and Christmas is for kids. He pointed out they gifted Tim and his wife things still, but they said that we'd already bought it, might as well. But I have been shopping with his mother, and she bought gifts for Tim and his wife candy again this year already. I'm frustrated and feel like no one is handling any of this well. I don't want to step in and help my husband, but I want someone else to look at this mess before I do anything other than listen and offer suggestions of using I feel blank when you blank to his parents. Edit. Replied to some comments, showed husband thread, send email. Haven't been answering phone calls from them. Ask them to please just read and reply via email so that we have time to think and respond calmly. Got a lot of nasty voicemails for it. Going to let them simmer some more and keep ignoring their calls since they keep yelling. Now for the top advice before reading the first update. Holy crap, what a bunch of selfish and manipulative people. That's the most ridiculous suggestion I've ever heard. Now, I don't know if you're child-free, not at that stage in your life yet, or have been trying but haven't conceived, but it doesn't freaking matter. Just because you don't have kids doesn't mean you have to buy presents for everyone else's kids. That's insane. I don't even know how anyone would justify that honestly. If it comes up again, ask them to explain why they think that's an appropriate thing to ask, and state that while you are glad to have all your nieces and nephews, you don't think it's reasonable for you to be expected to buy them all gifts. Ask if they are going to get you a present from every one of your nieces/nephews. If they bring up that you're not being very Christian BS, remind them that true Christianity is not about material goods. It's about love, not cheap crap from Walmart. His brother and sister-in-law are butthurt that Opie and Hubs have disposable income and probably have nicer things and less stressful life. Taking care of 6 people at a max only for 2 working is still hard unless they make real good money. They sell kazoos in bulk in Amazon for under $6. It's the gift that keeps on giving. Don't forget to encourage the kids to play them as often as possible to develop their musical skills. After all, music helps kid with math or whatever. So, you're supposed to buy gifts for 15 kids since you don't have any? And you get kicked out of Christmas if you don't. Sounds like it's time to start a new tradition that doesn't involve insane relatives. Maybe a cruise. Cruises are nice. This is the craziest part to me. Just no semblance of logic. I have 2 kids, so I buy presents for my 2 kids. You have no kids? You have to buy presents for 15 kids. How the heck do you arrive at that conclusion? Now for the first update. Thanks for everyone who came and tossed in their 2 cents. It was wonderful to hear from other people without having to worry if they would repeat my chatter to the other party involved. So, I'm not 100% sure where I should start. I am about 3 drinks in just to calm myself. For one, I did show my husband a post after we talked. I brought up T-Day 2015. I'd asked him if he wanted some more input that I normally give on his family drama. He said yes. I pointed out the favoritism of his brother over him in almost anything. I made a list showing times when it had happened where they and he were fully in the wrong just to prove the point. We went over the texts from his brother, sister-in-law, mother, father, aunt, and cousin. Just to recap names. Brother Timmy, sister-in-law Candy, mother Rhonda, father Keith, aunt Kira, cousin Ben, husband Todd. This is shorter than husband. I'm lazy. So the day I posted after we went over the text, which started after we missed their call, and went up until we sent the email, all just spiteful garbage about how we waste our money, time and life volunteering and don't spend enough time with our children, /cousins, /cousins' children, /family anymore. It started out telling Todd he was being a candy butt B-word who was whipped by his cold harpy child Hayden wife, and just degraded from there. Todd only sent back a few saying he'd email him about it and asking him to not talk about me. So we sent the email. Here is basically what we sent. I semi-edited it. Todd sends it as if it was just from him. We almost added in his parents but decided we'd just forward it to them if it really got out of hand. No problem. Timmy did it for him. Tim, I'm sending you an email so we can talk about what happened on Thanksgiving. I think this would be better for us both since when we are heated we say things rashly. You didn't give me much time to really think about it, so here it goes. I don't understand why you volunteered us to buy gifts. We are happy to buy gifts for your children as we have every year. Is there something going on? Is someone having financial problems? Well, we would gladly help anyone who asks. As we have before, you should recall Kathy and Kiki 2 years ago. You helped too. Being set up in front of young children was rude. Not to mention you telling us we aren't allowed at Christmas now. The texts and angry voicemails were also uncalled for. Please take some time and get back to me. I hope we can work this out as our family is very important to us. Todd. Yes, well, that went over about as well as water on a grease fire. For one, Timmy forwarded the email to Rhonda and Keith, Kira and Ben. That was rude, but we were going to do the same way either way. Ben sent us an email letting us know what Timmy did and said he was sorry he wasn't there to jump in, but would try and talk to Timmy. Timmy and Ben are actually really close, so it was nice to see he thought Timmy was being unreasonable as well, since they are normally very close / like-minded. I'm not going to put his email here. I'm just going to highlight what it said then tell you what Keith and Rhonda said in their email / visit. I'm a cold, child-hating harpy I sleep around. I'm an atheist, or a Muslim, or something he never really picked. I am dragging Todd from the church and his family. We don't spend any time at all with the family anymore. We never spend any time with our nibblings. We are wasting our life / time / money volunteering with animals. Helping / wanting to help refugees was un-American, and this is my fault since I'm a first-generation American and don't understand what it means to be one / deserve to live here. I'm rude and never talk to them unless it's about animal rescue / animal rights. Yeah, so, At this point, we're kinda laughing and kinda crying and kinda shocked. We spent the rest of the day cleaning up our house and talking about what we wanted to do / reply back. We hadn't checked our email and we'd stuck our phones on vibrate and we're just trying to enjoy our day off together. They are pretty rare, sadly. So surprise, his parents drove all the way out to talk to us. I say talk, but it was more like being talked at. They asked me to leave so they could talk to Todd about his actions / rude email. Todd said no, said I was his family and his wife and we were handling this together. They then tried to convince us we had said the F word in front of the family. We didn't. That we had mentioned buying gifts for everyone before. That we didn't love Jesus anymore since we hadn't been going to church. And some of what Timmy has sent in the email too. When his father started to insult me and then in turn my father, Todd was done. He stood up and said, "Thank you for coming to visit us in our home for the first time, but we have errands to run and you need to leave now." They refused. He told them they had to go now or he'd have to call the police. They left. He cried, I cried, our cats knocked over their cups. We ended up calling my dad and told him everything, as well as showing him both emails. He told us they have before talked trash about me / us to him. We should be able to fix your child still, we're still working in hours, was something he told us had been said. We decided we aren't going to their Christmas either way. I told Todd I can't go back there again, nor can I look at any of them the same again. I knew they'd always not like me as much as some of the other daughter-in-laws, but I didn't know it was to that extent. They have always been nice and polite to my face, invited and included me in all events. No one had ever said anything to Todd either. As it stands, I'm waiting for my dad and brother to get into town, and then we're going to sit down and decide what we would like to do. Todd said he just wants it to be small, and doesn't mind where Christmas happens and said he felt closer to my dad and brother anyway. We told Ben what happened and shipped his gift to him. I haven't decided yet what I will do with the Nibblings gifts, but I already donated all of the adult gifts. Edit. I'd also like to add I'm not of another ethnicity. My father is German, and moved to the US when he was 20 to marry my mother. So I'm a pasty white chick, but I guess since my dad isn't American, that's bad. Now for more comments before the final update. This is really awful. But what stood out to me was how united the two of you are in this. It sucks for Todd, that he now has a full realization of how terrible his family is. That's hard for him, and I know he's going to be dealing with a lot of emotions from this. but the two of you took this hit together. And that's awesome. So, a bit of silver lining, maybe? We weren't always this way. When we went through my family drama with my mother, sisters, and her family and some of my dad's, it was hell. We were not united. He was semi-friends with my mother and she sob-storied him into believing a lot of lies I had come to question about my childhood. So we then fought like cats and dogs until finally he listened, and I spoke what I was thinking and feeling. It could have ended then. I would have my dad and brother and nothing else, but we worked it out. We communicated, forgave each other, made a game plan for handling my mother's manipulative BS, and went to war. In the end, I would do anything for Todd. I'd even put up with going and being around his family again next year once the wounds healed a bit. I know it will be a lot harder for him to give up on them than it would be for me too. I suggested we both revisit the therapist I was seeing before when we dealt with my family. I think it will help him identify some other issues. Thanks for reading and a chain of comments/compliments. We both appreciate it. Our cats knocked over their cups. Your cats are pretty badass. Seriously though, I'm sorry. But it sounds like you and your husband have been handling this like a united front, and that's awesome. He demanded love. The other cats cleaned up the water. It worked out. 10 over 10 would adopt 4 cats again. I'm proud of your husband for standing up for you. Go him. His family sucks. They really are terrible, greedy people. You were better off without them. It always sucks when a partner is wrapped into the manipulation of their family. Nice to see them sticking together for a change. This is kind of like our second rodeo, only we didn't see it coming at all. Now for the final update. I wish this update was we all made up and Christmas will be so great, but it's not. Yesterday we had a small Christmas party with some friends, since we will be leaving the 24th for a holiday. Myself, Todd, Dad, and brother who I'll name Theo. My friend Sandy grew up near me. We've been friends for years and she became friends with Timmy and his wife too. They're friends together on Facebook. We had told her that there was a tiff but didn't elaborate to not damage their friendship. Big mistake. Since she tagged us in her "Ooh, look at my gift" /QQ my friend is leaving for my Christmas post. The photos of the two of us drinking while dancing around her new Roomba. I will note this isn't just for her Christmas. It's for her Christmas, birthday, and her wedding, as well as a housewarming gift. Her and her soon-to-be husband Bill just bought a new townhouse near us. I normally wouldn't buy something that expensive just for Christmas. So, Timmy saw the post. Not only did it take offense to us drinking, none of them drink/are against drinking. He really flipped his lid about her getting a Roomba. He lost his crap in the comments and then showed up at our apartment. I was in the shower when Timmy showed up. I heard someone knocking on the door, which had to be pretty loud to hear it all the way into the master's bedroom shower. I finished the shower around midway through Todd and Tim fighting. Todd said he was beating the door down. He opened the door and refused to let Tim in any further than the hallway. Tim was yelling at him about the gift, about his lack of church going, about his going out of town, demanding his kids' gifts. I donated them, and asking where we got off buying such a pricey gift for someone who isn't related, and being selfish a-holes about gifting the other children. So around this point I come out of the shower after putting on PJs. It's nearly 1 a.m. now. I came out to see Timmy. I'm kinda shocked. Todd tells Tim it's late and we can't talk about this when we get back from holiday with the pastor. He pushes Todd. Todd falls back into the wall, putting a dent into it. This woke my dad and Theo. I moved in front of Todd since Tim was pulling back to hit him. He hit me, knocking me down on top of Todd. Dad and Theo restrained him. Our next door neighbor was woken up and called 911. Cops showed up, separated all of us. We told them what had happened, didn't tell them about the other problems. Shortened it up so there had been a Christmas disagreement. They also called an ambulance since Todd cut his arm on a dish that broke, and my face was quickly turning purple. The EMS showed up, no Todd, and was very upset about him and I being hurt. The cops asked us if we wanted to press charges. I started to say no, but Todd said yes. So Tim was arrested, and we went to the ER since Todd needed some stitches. Our phones have been blowing up ever since. I turned mine off after I told Sandy she needed to not let Tim and Candy see any posts about us, since they're pissed at us. She said okay. I went through and unfriended/grouped anyone who was also friends with any in-law/family into a restricted group so they can't see anything we're up to again. I hope. Rhonda and Keith have been blowing up Todd's phone. He's only answered them in text with what happened, that we would not drop charges or pay his bail, and to stop contacting us at all. Between the last update and this one, we had talked to some of the other family members and they all said they disagreed with Timmy. His grandparents said they did too, but that they couldn't host the Christmas and couldn't stop him from uninviting us. They said they would talk to him and we were like, okay, cool. Maybe by next year we can be friends again. That isn't the case anymore. At all. There is no coming back from this. We'll be filing a restraining order when we get home. Todd is talking about us moving out of our home state. Dad and Theo think this is a good idea. Dad is annoyed that I wouldn't let him hit Tim, so is sulking a bit. But I think it's more that he's upset that we have lost another family basically. So yeah. I get to enjoy my trip with a black eye/cheek. Todd has a 4-inch gash on his arm. Dad is sulking and Theo is happy since he's smoking pot. So A+ Christmas. Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my sister after she didn't show up for my wedding? Original post. So my 29 female sister, 27 female, and I have always been pretty close. Or so I thought. Last year, I got married to the love of my life, and we had a small intimate wedding. My sister was supposed to be my maid of honor, but she never showed up. No call, no text, nothing. I was devastated, but I tried to focus on the day and not let it ruin things. Later, she explained that she had a panic attack and couldn't handle the pressure. I understood and tried to be supportive, but it still hurt that she didn't even try to let me know. Fast forward to now, my sister is pregnant and recently asked me for help, both financially and with planning her baby shower. She's in a tough spot, but I do feel bad for her, but I'm still hurting about the wedding. I told her that I am not in a position to help her right now, and she got really upset, saying that I'm being selfish and holding a grudge. Now, my family is divided. Some say I should let it go and support her, while others think it's fair for me to be upset. So, am I the a-hole for refusing to help her? Now, for the top comments before reading the update. I'm sorry, panic attack or not, who doesn't turn up or even let the bride know they're not going to turn up? At a wedding of a sibling. Not a-hole. I wouldn't be helping her with anything. I'd love to help you with your baby, but I don't think I can handle the pressure. I'm sure you understand. Exactly. There's literally no excuse at all for not even sending an apology text message as a bare minimum. OP, not a-hole. Honestly, I would be 100% petty and never help her again, purely because of how she handled it. You've already given her a reason and apologized, which is a lot more than she gave you. You're wholly entitled to being angry. Siblings often forget they need to uphold their end of being there when they need you to be there. And instead of showing contrition, she goes on the attack of accusations. I don't think she's sorry for missing your wedding. I think she was jealous and wanted to ruin your day, so she just didn't show up. I wouldn't give her anything, least of all your time and money. Not the a-hole. She is accusatory when she should be contrite and conciliatory. Speaks very loudly as to her thought process and entitled attitude. Can we get more details on her? Why is it her baby daddy helping more with the cost? In-laws, her parents. Why does it fall to you? On top of that, you're now married. So questions about financial help to other people such as loans or financial gifts are now joint decisions for the household, not just one sister to another. If Opie wanted to be extra petty, she could plan a shower and then just not attend. But if you don't have the funds to help someone, they should not throw a fit over it. Sister sounds horribly entitled. Now for the update. Thank you all for your thoughtful advice and support. I'd like to provide a detailed update on the situation and the recent developments. After much reflection, I decided to address the issue directly with my sister. I arranged a meeting with her, aiming to have an honest and open discussion about her absence from my wedding. I felt it was important to articulate how deeply her actions affected me, particularly since she was supposed to be my maid of honor. During our conversation, I started expressing how hurt and disappointed I was by her not showing up and not even attempting to contact me on the day of the wedding. I told her that her absence, especially given her role, was devastating and made a significant impact on my special day. I stressed that her lack of communication made the situation even more painful. My sister's reaction was quite defensive. Instead of acknowledging the hurt she caused, she focused heavily on her panic attack. She claimed that her mental health crisis was so overwhelming that she couldn't manage to reach out, and she expected this to be sufficient justification for her absence. She repeatedly said that I should understand how debilitating her condition was, and suggested that I was being unreasonable for holding on to my feelings. I tried to explain that while I understood she was dealing with a serious issue, the lack of communication and the absence on a major day in my life left me feeling abandoned and unsupported. I emphasized that acknowledging the impact of her actions was crucial for moving forward and rebuilding our relationship. The conversation took a frustrating turn when my sister shifted focus to her current struggles. She is pregnant and dealing with financial difficulties, which she attributes to her baby daddy's lack of involvement. She asked for my help with her baby shower and financial support, framing it as a dire need given her challenging circumstances. It became apparent that she was relying heavily on others to make up for her baby daddy's shortcomings. When I mentioned that I wasn't in a position to help financially or with a baby shower, she became upset and accused me of being unsupportive and selfish. She argued that my refusal to help, given her current situation, was further evidence of me holding a grudge. She suggested that family should come together in times of need, even if past grievances haven't fully been resolved. Throughout the discussion, my sister's approach felt dismissive. She seemed to believe that her current struggles should overshadow the past issues, and that I should put my feelings aside to support her. Her defensiveness and lack of genuine remorse made it difficult to see a path forward, where both of our concerns could be addressed. My parents who are informed about this situation have been urging me to be more forgiving and supportive. They believe that family should come together, especially in difficult times. Their perspective has been challenging, as it feels like they're minimizing my own hurt and focusing primarily on my sister's current needs. My husband has been a key source of support. He agrees with my decision to maintain boundaries and not provide support under the current circumstances. He feels that while empathy is important, my sister's failure to take responsibility and her tendency to blame others makes it difficult to justify helping her. In summary, I've decided to stand by my decision not to help with a baby shower or provide financial assistance. My sister's lack of genuine acknowledgement of her past actions and her tendency to deflect blame have solidified my choice. My family remains divided, with some members feeling I should be more supportive and others understanding my need to protect my emotional well-being. Navigating this situation has been emotionally taxing, but I'm focusing on maintaining clear boundaries and ensuring my own needs are met. I hope that over time, my sister may come to understand the impact of her actions and that we might be able to rebuild our relationship. Thank you again for your support and advice. She suggested family should come in time of need. So if that's true, how come that didn't apply to her during your wedding? I have a hard time believing OP's sister would have that stance if the roles were reversed. Glad OP stuck to her guns. I agree. Notice how family always tell the victim to be the bigger person? It's such BS. I love these people who think we need to move past their crappy behavior and just get over it, while never acknowledging that while perhaps unintended, their crappy behavior nonetheless left us with feelings that cannot always just be let go. She didn't even give you the courtesy of a phone call, and now you're just supposed to forgive all? Has she even said the words, "I'm sorry"? The axis forgets what the tree remembers. I'm glad you stuck to your guns, and I'm sorry your sister couldn't just apologize so you could all move forward. My little sister and me were super close, best friends, as kids. I always had her back and would argue with my mother constantly about being a knob to her, even though I was the scapegoat and got it much worse. It was like us against the world. As adults, I paid her rent, bought her food, shopping, and met her after work every day. Even supported their weed habit at times when her and her fellow were struggling as a couple and financially for a long time, at the detriment of my own finances and relationship. I was 100% sure that she would do the same for me. I just never needed her help really, because I had my act together mostly, and I always thought we would be close. Then I got pregnant. I couldn't smoke weed or go out anymore. I needed her probably for the first time in my life. Not majorly, not financially or physically, but just for moral support as I was sick and my mental health was crap. I just wanted my sister to hang out with me. She just couldn't handle being there for me when I wasn't the life and soul of the party anymore. I was shaken up for ages over it. It was like she just changed towards me completely. I don't know if any of this resonated with your situation, but sometimes it's an unfortunate reality that we can do everything for some people and believe those sacrifices are contributing to a strong bond. But only one side is invested in the other person wholly, and not just for the benefits. Your sister sounds like she likes the benefits of your relationship, but can't fathom a situation where your feelings come first, even on your wedding day. I would feel awful enough about not turning up. I can't imagine not even letting you know and apologizing profusely. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister that my kids won't ever be allowed to sleep at her house if she marries her fiancé? My sister, 27 female, met a guy almost 2 months ago on a dating app. Within their first phone conversation, he told her that he served 12 years in jail for a murder that he committed when he was 18, and he's been out of jail for 3 years. Apparently, the story he initially told her is that him and his friends were trying to rob a guy, and it went wrong, and they ended up unaliving him. She told me and one of her friends immediately after their phone conversation. So we searched his name and found the articles and court documents and were horrified with the actual details of the crime. We told her she should stop talking to him and she agreed. Fast forward a few weeks after that, she tells us that she's still talking to him and they want to get married and are planning their wedding. She said she confronted him about the information we found online pertaining his crime, and he was brutally honest and came clean about everything. He told her it was a mistake he made when he was young and he has since turned to God and lives a completely different life now. She said that their connection is so strong and nobody gets her like he does. And he's been helping her become a more religious person as well. She said that on their second date, he took her to a jewelry store and they are already looking at wedding venues and apartments. I let her know that I didn't think she should talk to him, let alone marry him, and I didn't support her actions. Her friend agreed as well. After I voiced my opinion, I noticed that she stopped telling me anything regarding her relationship. My sister and I are very, very close and tell each other everything. Her and I had a conversation about a week later in which she confronted me about my disapproval and said she doesn't think I'm being a supportive sister. I told her that it all seems so fast and that I don't understand how she even got to the point of marriage so fast with someone she just met. I told her how her decision would affect the dynamic of our relationship and I would be uncomfortable to let my 2 young daughters to go to their house or have any sleepovers considering his violent past. She told me I was judgmental, and I should understand that people make mistakes and grow from them. She ended up telling our younger brother that she was really hurt about what I said. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want my kid staying the night with someone she's only known a few months, even if he didn't have a criminal history. Criminal history isn't strong enough. The man is a murderer. Yes, plus he initially lied about the circumstance. Opie can reassure her sister that her love for her is as strong as ever, but that the extreme violence in the soon-to-be brother-in-law's past is a deal-breaker, as far as ever being a trusted caretaker. If the brother-in-law has truly turned to God, he surely understands Opie's position. My thought is that, based on the sister's overwhelming and swift submission to the fiancé, he has thoroughly manipulated her. Opie and the rest of the family might do well to watch for psych personality disorder symptoms in the fiancé. The guy seems like a classic narcissist. Tell her to wait until after their first big argument to move in together just to see how it goes. I was literally coming to say the same thing. Opie, definitely not the a-hole, but I would try to convince her that she needs to see his bad side before she finds herself trapped. Go on a weekend trip that requires using various forms of public transportation. Go to a loud, crazy concert, anything that could trigger anxiety in even the calmest people. See how he handles himself then. Not a-hole. You are doing what any good parent would do, protecting your kids. Going from meeting to planning a wedding, moving in together, etc. after 2 months is a giant red flag, whether there's a criminal involved or not. And I wouldn't be comfortable leaving my kids in the presence of anyone who makes decisions like that, him or her. Came to say the same. Sounds like he is love-bombing her. Convicted for murder aside, sounds weird even saying that. He is definitely telling her everything she wants to hear. And for me anyway, the finding God part of it is even a bigger red flag. My DA told me that's how they know people are really guilty, is when they have the conversion, as if it erases what they did. Last story. Am I the a-hole for calling the police on my twin sister after she took out a loan in my name? So here's the situation. My twin sister and I, both female 21, have always been super close. We shared everything growing up. Clothes, friends, secrets. I thought we had a type of bond where we could trust each other completely. But recently, something happened that has completely shaken that trust. A few months ago, I started noticing strange charges in my credit card statements and emails about a loan application that I never filled out. At first, I thought it was a mistake or maybe identity theft. I was really freaked out because I've been trying to build my credit to move out and start my life independently. After digging into it, I discovered that the loan was taken out in my name and the payments hadn't been made in months. I was confused, hurt, and scared. My credit score tanked, and I started receiving calls from debt collectors. It was a nightmare. I confronted my sister about it, and after some back and forth, she admitted that she took out a loan in my name. She said she was in a tough spot financially and didn't think it would be a big deal. She promised she'd pay it back, but she hadn't made any payments yet and didn't seem to have a plan to start. I was devastated. My financial future was on the line, and I felt completely betrayed by the person I trusted most in the world. I tried to stay calm and work it out with her, but she kept brushing it off, saying it wasn't that big of a deal and that I was overreacting. Eventually, I realized that she wasn't taking responsibility for what she did, and I didn't see any other way out. I called the police and reported her for identity theft. She was arrested, and now the whole family's in chaos. My parents are furious with me, saying I should have handled it within the family and not gone to the authorities. My sister isn't speaking to me and everyone's treating me like the villain. I feel terrible for what happened, but I don't know what else I could have done. My credit is still ruined, and I'm struggling to get my finances back on track. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for calling the police on my twin sister after she took out a loan in my name and refused to pay it back? You try to handle it within the family and she dismissed you. She clearly didn't care about you at all and was only worried about herself. She also committed a crime. She wouldn't be in the situation she is in if she hadn't have done something illegal, and now she's meeting the consequences of her actions. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, and that's exactly what needed to happen. This is her fault, not yours. You are the victim here, and there has to be consequences to her actions. This would have happened again the next time she got in a financial bind if there hadn't been consequences. Maybe she will have learned everything has consequences, good and bad, depending on the choices you make. Yes, she tried to solve it within the family first, but the sister refused to, and this is the only way to fix this. I am dealing with this within my own family right now. There is a member of the family who stole someone else's identity and ran up a bunch of credit cards in their name. The amounts are quite large, and it's an incredibly serious crime. There will be jail time attached. The victim in this feels so guilty because they don't want to send their family member to prison. The family member has given them no choice. Judgments like that remain on your credit, and your credit cannot start to heal until they are gone. The damage remains for 7 years afterwards and will affect everything. From the interest rates you get to whether or not you can run an apartment or get a car. It shouldn't, but it can also affect your hireability. Employers check it. OP, your twin decided to do life-destroying things to you, and she knows how serious it is. She did it under the belief that because the consequences were so great, you wouldn't inflict them on her. If they want so badly for it to be worked out within the family, then they should all pay her debts off right away to avoid this going any further. Yet somehow, I doubt they will do that.